Right here is the cross-country trail, and behind it is Denny Field, also known as the lacrosse field. Here we found many of our fungi, including tree fungi or mushrooms.
How we're going to be looking for these fungi is lichens are mainly going to be growing on wooden bodies. They can either be growing on living wooden bodies such as this tree or on rotten wooden bodies. Shelf fungi are also going to be growing on mainly decaying wood. And mushrooms will just be growing sporadically around. Those are much harder to find, especially since their fruiting bodies only last for a couple of hours. So if we go through here, there should be plenty of fungus.
On the trail, there's a lot of decaying wood over here, so we'll find a lot of shelf fungi and lichens.
For example, you can see some lichens. Actually, no, it appears to be some shelf fungi that has decayed since it hasn't rained in a week or two. See all the dried up shelf fungus. Lichens are very unique, as they can, unlike most other organisms, they can grow on rocks. So you can just see some mosses and a lichen here. And they can do this because lichens are symbiotic organisms. They are two organisms. They are algae and a fungi. The algae, through photosynthesis, creates food for both itself and the fungus. And the fungus then provides a home for the algae so it can grow on rough surfaces such as rocks. You see, this tree is covered in shelf fungus. This is a false turkey tail fungus, and it's named so because it looks like a turkey tail. And as you can see, it's rooted deeply inside this rotting wood, and its bodies as shelf fungi have just sprouted out throughout this entire dead tree.
Wait, is it something?
What is it? Oh, that might be. Is that styrofoam or no? That's a puffball. It's a puffball. It's a puffball.
It's a puffball mushroom.
Yeah, you can see, like, if you just zoom in on this, it should, when I press it. Nope, it's out. This looks like a dried puffball mushroom. It feels like a marshmallow. You can see it. The roots down here that went into the mycene. It's dried out since it hasn't rained, and what these mushrooms do is they'll have all their spores in here. And when, like, you squeeze it or wind blows by, all the spores will come out of this top and go into the breeze. This is a genus of mushroom. We found two here. We found the common puffball and the umber puffball. Unfortunately, I'm not sure which type this is since it's so shriveled and dead. But that's really cool that there's still mushrooms out here even after it hasn't rained in a while. So it looks like I found another mushroom here. There's probably a snake in that hole, so I won't get any closer. But you can see the cap of it right there. This is a fruiting mushroom body. It's not a shelf fungi since there's nothing for it to grow off of.
Oh, I thought that was a branch for a second.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how we've been identifying things using this app called Seek. And what it can do is you can scan organisms with it and it'll tell you what it is. Like, it's telling me this is a common guild mushroom. Unfortunately, I might have to get closer to it. So, weeping widow is what it is. That doesn't seem correct. So, we'll try again. Let's see if it is. Since we haven't really seen the underbelly, we can't tell if it's, like, round or not. So, I'm just going to take a picture of where it is currently. And then we can use that on the site. And then we can hopefully move it. Oh, it feels so weird. These things feel so weird. It feels like very soft and like leathery and furry. Yeah, like a flower petal, like a very thick flower petal. So it does have gills underneath.
Let's try ripping it up.
Yeah.
That's how it spreads its spores.
Yeah, that's how it spreads its spores. It feels like a vegetable, the stem. There's juice in the stem. This is so weird. Okay, it's a brittle stem. So sometimes we aren't able to fully identify a type of fungus. For example, this stick has several different types on it. This is its own separate species. This one's probably its own separate species. This one is its own separate species. But we aren't able to identify any of them because of the limitations of the resources we're using. Seek isn't always perfect, and we can't always get a perfect species identification on many of these fungi.
So, after the nature trail, we're going to be transitioning into Denny Field. We found many fungi behind the field to the right over here. Behind me is the hill behind Denny Field. The hill behind Denny Field is perfect for fungi due to its environment. Fungi don't like excessive amounts of light, so the trees covering every bit of it is perfect for fungi. In addition, there's a lot of decaying vegetation here, such as trees or plants, and it's perfect for fungi because they live in the decaying vegetation. This leads to the growth of new fungi. This plant is dead, and since it's fresh, it's still sort of hard. But from the constant weathering of this, due to rain, ice, etc., it'll become mushy like this one. See, it's very squishy and it's easy to break, and it retains a lot of moisture. In addition to those components, this environment is covered by many trees and plants, causing it to be perfect for fungi to grow in. The fungi don't need excessive amounts of sunlight, so this will be perfect. In addition to the moisture from this dead branch, many fungi will grow in here, such as lichen, shrooms, or jelly fungus.
Fungi are detritivores. This means that they break down and eat dead organisms. Fungi are very important to a forest ecosystem because what they'll do is they'll take wood like this and they will break it down into simpler parts. Most creatures cannot digest wood, which is mainly comprised of cellulose, but fungi can, and they break it down to much simpler components, which eventually, once they die, get recycled back into the soil so other plants can absorb them. Or if the fungus is eaten by a snail or a squirrel, then the snail or squirrel receive that nutrient that they otherwise could not have accessed. So how fungi connect to the greater Lovett ecosystem is very interesting. As I've stated before, they are detritivores, which means that they take cellulose from here and put it in the ground or into other animals. What this does is recycles nutrients that would otherwise be lost deep into the soil, and this eventually gets buried. So, it keeps nutrients on the surface. This means that other organisms, such as predators or, which recycle back into the thin layer of the soil, trees, can use that nutrient to grow. This keeps the ecosystem, such as this forest area just behind Denny Field, alive and healthy. What this does is it just keeps the general area beautiful without having any maintenance crew needing to upkeep it. And it makes sure that entropy, or the loss of energy, takes longer to happen.